Alright, so the other day I uploaded the match commentary I did for Ben versus Talik. This was winner semis, and real quick, just shout outs to everyone who subscribes to the YouTube, likes the videos, and leaves comments and stuff like that, just because, I don't know, it's nice to know that people are like enjoying the YouTube content. So, like Carbon here, Carbon had a very long and pretty nice reply, but he asked me essentially, would I ever consider doing a deep dive into predictions and help understanding the thought process behind doing randomizers? And I realized I kind of do this a lot of the time when I stream randomizer, but I don't give like a bigger, a wider context for why I do what I do. So I figured I could go ahead and kind of help display that point by using this map. I kind of just threw this together in a photo editing software that I use for like almost everything. Here, this will be fine. So I've kind of outlined this map to be that the green dots are all the different relics you can collect, and the purple dots are important items that you need to get to progress. So essentially this is just to help visualize routes and where you can go and where you can't go. I also made up a little notepad list of all the things that are important for rando and what you should be like focusing on, kind of in this order. The order can change depending on the randomized like layout of everything, but pretty much for the most part you're going to be looking for bat first and foremost, because that's your fastest form of movement and also gives you access to the entirety of the castle, excluding a handful of situations. Jewel of Open is pretty much what opens up the rest of those situations, excluding 2 other relics checks, but we'll get into that later. Gold ring, spike breaker, silver ring, holy glasses, these are all like required and are kind of separate from each other, so it requires routing. Kind of like one of the last things you want to be doing, well, not last things, it's one of the things that you're doing throughout the entirety of the run is, I'm skipping that song. One of the things you should be doing throughout the entirety of the run is just making sure that the route makes sense. And then second castle is its own thing, but it can basically be broken down into 3 possible strategies. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Yo, what's up, rats? It's gonna be kind of difficult to read chat this way. Hold on. Let me just move this here. Do this. There we go. That way chat's readable. And the castle's still in view. Perfect. So, to get into routing possibilities and things to look out for, essentially, right, you start the game off, you're going to be, let's pick a color here. Will be black. So, you're going to start the run off right here. So, your options are, you can't acquire this relic up here yet, you need some form of flight, so you're just going to be moving through the castle, right? And the first relic you're going to find is going to be up here. So depending on what this relic is going to determine a lot about what your route you're going to do going forward is. For example, if it is a flight relic, like Bat, for example, this is one of the cases where if this is Bat, you do not backtrack to get this relic. I've done this many times. It's not as fast as you would think it is. Mostly because you only have enough mana for like 2 or 3 wing smashes at most, and 2 or 3 wing smashes is enough to get you through like this room by itself, and that's about it. So you're going to be doing a lot of backdashing, you're going to run into wargs and zombies and stuff like that, you're going to get hit a couple of times, and it's going to be really slow. So you want to come back to this area once you have more MP, and there's 2 different ways you can do that. So in this scenario, let's say you have Bat already. This is great because it allows you to check this relic here and this relic here, on your way up to going towards the Marble Gallery, so that's great. You kind of have like a split path you can take going into the Marble Gallery. I just realized I forgot to mark a specific relic. I knew I was forgetting something, so real quick, let me just go ahead and mark it. Where are you? The one in the Marble Gallery. It's going to be somewhere around here. Yeah, on your way to the Marble Gallery, you're going to check this relic no matter what. So basically the beginning of the game should always be the same, where you go from the start, collect this relic, and if you have the chance to collect these 2 relics on the way up, that's great. If not, it doesn't always happen that way. Move forward, check this relic always, and then you get to the first potential crossroad. So your options are you can go through the rest of the Marble Gallery and get to Outer Wall, so that way you can get to the library faster. So library is cool. Library is cool for a couple of reasons, because you have 4 potential relic checks in the library, 3 if you have flight. Only 1 is or 2 are possible without flight, and 1 requires the mist gate. I do need to mark the Outer Wall relic as well. Thank you. I knew I was missing some. So. Oop. Perfect. So. This route is really good for the most part. So going directly to Outer Wall, you get 1 relic check, 2 relic checks, potential 3, 4, and if you have missed, 5. And they're all really quick and easy to get to. The only thing is, like, getting to this last one, you need this one right here. You need both mist to get past the mist gate, and you also need to be able to kill Lesser Demon. And this early in the game, it might be difficult, depending on what gear you have. So keep that in mind. If you have flight as well, it can be beneficial to go through here, you know, do the whole library thing, go up here, and then go to the Fire of Bat check, and then move your way up towards Castle Keep. So essentially getting to Castle Keep early is super beneficial for a couple of reasons. One, you need this teleporter here. This teleporter right here is like crucial. If you don't have this teleporter, you're in for a bad time. Mostly because the ways to get to Castle Keep are pretty limited. You only have 2 options. You're either going to come from the chapel, or you're going to be coming from Clock Tower. Those are your only 2 options, and really you only spend a very small amount of time in chapel, and you only spend a small amount of time like in Clock Tower. Like you only have like 1 or 2 routes that make sense to be in those areas. So you want to be getting here early so you can make use of this teleporter, as well as you have 3 relic checks. And those, these 2 up here require flight, whereas this one does not. But for you to get to this area, most of the time you're coming here with flight. And this theoretical route that I'm talking about, you're going to be starting with Bat. The other option, if you start with Bat, which I have slowly started to think might be potentially better, because it allows for more fluid movement throughout the castle later in the run. So that's option 1, where you to get to Castle Keep, because Castle Keep is super duper important. Option 2, start the game, get Bat here, right? Let's say you get Bat there. Check this relic, check this relic, check this relic. Then from here, instead of going through the Marble Gallery that way, we're gonna go up through the Colosseum. Oh, you also check this relic up here. You would do this in both. I forgot to mention that. This relic up here, if you have flight, you just check it whenever you can. It's not really that important. But let's say you have Bat, you check this relic, and then you go up to, dang it, I forgot another relic. I'm so bad at this. Hold on. There we go. So the other relic that I forgot is right in the Colosseum. Where would that be? That'd be right here. Oops. So the other option is you go up into the Colosseum, check the relic. You can check it through the mist gate. If you have mist, you already check it. like just by visually looking at it, and if you have missed, you can just grab it without having to fight Minotaur Werewolf. So there's a potential time loss here. You can also, if you would like to, it's not necessarily always necessary, and it doesn't always save you time depending on the route you take and depending on if you have library cards and whatnot. When you go into the Coliseum, you can go around and open the shortcut that allows you to get to and from the chapel easier, but it's not always necessary, and it's kind of a time loss. I would do it if I needed to fight Minotaur and Werewolf every single time, just because it's a nice option to have. But if I don't have to fight Minotaur and Werewolf and I already have that, I would just consider skipping it. However, the route that I'm suggesting here, right? So you start off with Bat down here. Check this relic, check this relic, check this relic, check this relic, go up into Coliseum, check this relic, turn around, open this teleporter right here. Super important. This is like the second most important teleporter that you can open. Most important being the Castle Keep one. This one I think is slightly not, but they're both equally important. Basically, every single randomizer run is going to have you collecting both of these teleporters. So this teleporter, getting it early on is really important. You would go up through here, and then from here, this is kind of the risky part. If you don't have good equipment, it's going to be hard to fight Aurochs, but you have to fight Aurochs to get this relic check, do this relic check, open up this shortcut to get into the chapel. Dang it. Hold on. Where is history? Perfect. So, you open up that shortcut, go from chapel all the way up, get this teleporter, and then you're here in the Castle Keep. And that's one way to get to Castle Keep pretty quickly. And then you can just do a like you just move forward through the clock tower, check Fire Bat, check the Outer Wall relic, and then also get to go to library. So it's essentially just clockwise through the castle. Question: if you need Minotaur and Werewolf relic, are you going to open the secret entrance even if you plan on going to Aurochs? Yes, just because your option for backtracking after collecting the silver ring, you have two options. Well, three options. One is you go up and use this teleporter. Option two, you go down and then through Aurochs to get down here. Option three is you go through Chapel to, my god, words are hard, to the Coliseum, and then through the Coliseum to get down. Those are your three options, and option three is the fastest. So if I'm already over here to like very close to opening this, might as well always open it. There are probably some scenarios where you actually don't end up using it, but you wouldn't know at the time, so it's better to just open it and be safe. And it doesn't waste that much time at all. It's like maybe 3 seconds out of your way. Okay, so far we've talked about two options to go through the castle if you get Bat first, right? So option one is through the castle, Bat, blah, 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 over here, go to Outer Wall as soon as possible, check this relic, go back around, check this relic, possibly check this relic, check the library relic, and if you're lucky, you also get to check the relic behind Lesser Demon. That's like best case scenario. Then from there, you're probably... Some people will teleport away back to the start and then check these two relics as well as the entrance relic if they get flight at that point. Or they would just check the entrance relic, something like that. I don't necessarily agree with teleporting from Outer Wall early. Instead, what I would recommend is if you're already in Outer Wall, your best bet is to check Fire of Bat, go through the clock tower, and then get this teleporter for sure, as well as check these relics if possible. I think this area is much more important for the randomizer than it would be for you to take this teleporter here, just to go back to the entrance and like do the entrance check. Like the entrance check can be done later, if that makes sense, if you haven't already done it. So don't worry about entrance check, and potentially you could even do entrance check with in combination with the cavern stuff. But caverns is usually saved for, you know, later in the run kind of situations, so. So that's like the first start of the first castle. Like the first half of the first castle is just getting to Castle Keep as quickly as possible. I think a good rule of thumb is to maximize relic checks before first library visit if possible. Yes and no. It depends on where those relic checks are. For example, if you get Merman Statue and Jewel of Open, let's say very early on, right before even, like let's say you go through the castle and it's like, oh, here's Merman Statue. Whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then, oh, here's Jewel of Open, right? And let's say you also have some movement options. Your options then become, you can go up through Colosseum, right? With some movement options. You can go to Outer Wall, or third potential option is you go down into the caverns, right? So I think caverns should always be saved until later in the run, just because you want to have the potential, all the movement options you need. You also want to make sure that you haven't missed Merman Statue, so that way you can check this relic for sure. It's really a bad feeling when you go into caverns early, right? Let's say you go into caverns early and you even get a chance to grab Gold Ring, right? Grab Gold Ring. You don't have Merman Statue, so you can't check this relic down here. So instead you go around, right? Do this relic check. Whether you save split or not, doesn't really matter. Open up the area to get down into the caverns or the catacombs, right? And then do this relic check. Go down, do this, right? You do all of this work, right? The only teleporter that you can even vaguely use in this area is down here, which is pretty far out of the way to get all the way over to here, right? So let's say you did all that work just to find out that Merman Statue was like, I don't know, over here. And then it's like, oh, fuck, well, I guess I can teleport here, go here, and then go all the way around. But, like, even worse if, like, Merman Statue is, like, here, or, what's another bad spot for it to be at? Oh, for it to be at entrance, that's, like, worst case scenario. Entrance, Merman Statue, after already checking the caverns. I guess in that scenario, actually, if you're already here, you would probably do the entrance check on top of all of that, and that wouldn't be too bad because you were planning on going back to the caverns anyways. But still, only reason I mentioned this on Bat Opener Seed, I've been beaten because I had no money due to beelining to the library. Yeah, money is also an important factor to consider, just because what's in the library will determine how the seed goes later on, especially if you're struggling to buy this relic and you farm just to buy this relic. In general, I find that Bat Opener Seeds, it is best to do the clockwise motion around the castle if possible. The only hard part about that strat is if you get 0 item drops and you have to fight Aurochs. Then you're fighting Aurochs with fists and spells, and that's pretty rough, especially because you're going to be slightly lower leveled. But, you know, you just got to deal with that. Other than that, I think the route works out extremely well. One of the other routes that you should always keep in mind, like, it all depends on when you get Flight and when you get Bat. So that's why I was kind of simplifying it by saying you get Bat early. But let's say you don't get Bat until you check Castle Keep, which is very possible. From there, you're going to have a lot of backtracking to do. This would be a good time to use this teleporter to teleport back to the entrance, which the entrance teleporter is always active so long as you just teleport from another teleporter. So you know, teleport your booty all the way over here, From here, you have the option to do entrance check if you have bat as your form of flight. If your form of flight isn't bat, I would recommend saving entrance check and combining it with the caverns checks if you can. If you're like still looking for Jewel of Open, then potentially it might be worth it to check this, because this could be Jewel of Open. But you don't want to do this check without that and without a sizable amount of mana, because it is very slow. But yeah, you finally get flight, right? So now you can check this relic here. You'll be able to check this relic here, which is good. You'll also be able to finally check this relic up here, which will open up more options for you. Because basically, if we refer back to my list here, you are just looking for bat. Like, pretty much the entirety of the beginning of this whole section is all you're trying to do is find bat. If you find other things along the way, like Jewel of Open, that's great. If you find other movement relics, that's great. If you find some good weapons, that's great. But realistically, you want bat, fastest form of movement, and, you know, from there, you're looking for Jewel of Open pretty much right afterwards, because Jewel of Open is required for this item right here, the silver ring. It is also required to get into caverns in the first place. So where is that room? It would be here. So this room right here, there is a switch that allows you to get into the caverns. So without the Jewel of Open, you can't get into that room. So the entirety of like this section, it's like super jank. So this entire section over here is completely cut off without Jewel of Open. So that's 1, 2, 3 relic checks, as well as Spike Breaker down here, which is required, and Gold Ring, which is required. So all of the goodness that is in the caverns, even though it's really spread out, but it's still required to get there, is completely blocked off without Jewel of Open. Then once you get Jewel of Open, then the route becomes pretty... the caverns route is pretty much set in stone. Like, you want to grab Gold Ring. If you can do this relic check, great, do it. Do this relic check. Potentially do this relic check if you haven't already. Open the switch over here. Go into caverns. Check this relic. You don't really open this teleporter unless you're doing it on the way back without, like, you don't have library cards. From there, ironic that the what is this Rainbow Cemetery music starts playing, because we're talking about the getting into the catacombs to get the Spike Breaker right here. Boom. And that's pretty much like your standard caverns route. Like, it's gonna look pretty much the same for everybody. I'm trying to think if there's any other first castle things to talk about. Oh, what if you don't find flight for a long time, right? So what that route will look like... Yo, what's going up, Drowser? So if you don't find flight early on, what that route is going to look like is you're going to come from entrance, right? Check this relic, it's not flight. You won't be able to check these two relics over here. Check this relic, it's not flight. Okay. Move forward, you have to go this route to get into the outer wall, blah, blah, blah. Check this relic, it's not flight. Okay, so what do you do now? Oh, wait, sorry. You would then go back down, go into library, check this. Okay, not flight. And then you would also check this. Okay, not flight. So at this point, you exhausted your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 relic checks that don't require other relics. And you haven't gotten any form of... from here, you would at least get Jewel of Open, I want to say. Yeah, because Jewel of Open would be required. So, like, let's say the only thing that you got to progress was Jewel of Open. And these seeds are somewhat common. I've played a handful of these. That means the only 2 relics that you have left to check are very bad relics. They're both extremely slow, and I don't really like the options there. So, from there, right, you're going to be in library, probably, somewhere around here, when you find out that, oh no, the only relic that I have to move forward is Jewel of Open. So that gives you option to check this relic or this relic all the way out in the caverns. So you're over here, and you're like, shit, well, where do I go? Option 1, which is not necessarily recommended, is you go back the way that you came, open this switch if you haven't already, drop down to the caverns, and you don't have flight at this point, so you cannot go this way to get gold rings, so you're going to have to backtrack over here anyways. Keep going down, right? You probably can't check this relic yet unless you also have Merman statue. Go this way. You can't flip this switch, so you can't get into the catacombs. Go back down, and all you get from this entire like set of movement is this one relic check. And then on top of that, you can't go back up the waterfall. Like, you can't do it. So instead, you got to go back up through the entrance to get to here. Very bad. Do not recommend. Sometimes it's required, but you would rather save that for the very last potential check, right? Your other option is also pretty bad, but I would say is not as bad. So from here, like, you just found out that your only option is, like I said before, you only have Jewel of Open. From here, you're going to backtrack up this way. You're going to open this teleporter for sure. You don't want to use it, but you want to go in there just to open it up and check it out. Just to have it available for later, because you're going to want to come back to the library and also check Fire of Bat later, because you're not going to be able to check it now. But instead, you're going to go up, and then this area, you can pass through this big open room with like the floating skulls, ghost skulls and whatnot, without any relics. It requires some precise jumps. I have a video on my YouTube explaining how to do it. But you want to basically do this route. There's a like damage boost that you do up here, and then you make your way through the clock tower. You don't need any relics to make your way all the way through the clock tower. So go through here, fight Crossamon, who's like one of the easiest bosses. From here, you definitely want to open this teleporter and then check this relic. Or I guess you could do it in the other ways, where you check this relic and then open the teleporter. That makes more sense. And if this relic isn't your progression relic, then from there, that's when you would teleport back to here and then do the other route, where, you know, you do the whole bad route or whatever. But the advantage to that is you've already opened this teleporter. So as soon as you get flight, you can come back, get this relic, boom, teleport out, teleport back to entrance. You can do the entrance check now. You can go back through here, check those relics, check this relic, go up into the Colosseum, check this relic, open this teleporter, go over here, fight Aurochs, check this relic, you know? It opens up a lot more options when you already have this teleporter open, as opposed to going straight down into the caverns, right? Do all the dumb stuff you have to do in the caverns. You end up here, and let's say you get flight. Great, you have flight now. But the problem is like, what do you do with it? Your only option now is to go up here, check this relic. You probably don't even have this teleporter available to you to teleport back here unless you teleported from here over here and open the switch, right? So this is blocked off. So then you're gonna have to backtrack through here, right? Then you can get to the Colosseum. You can go up through the Colosseum, right? And, you know, do this relic check on the way, do this, do this, do this, do this, and then do this, right? And then you're going to end up in the same exact spot as the other person, except now that you've done all that, you still haven't done these relic checks up here, and you still don't have this teleporter here. So you're putting off getting this teleporter and doing these relic checks, which is pretty bad. Because then your only option is to either teleport back here and then use flight to go through this section to get here, or while you're rounding up these relic checks here and here, after doing that, going through the chapel to get over here, which ends up being slow in general. Not to say that it's always going to be a bad play. There's probably situations where checking this relic first actually makes sense, but it's probably extremely rare. So far we've discussed getting Bat first and what to do then. getting bat later, like midway through the run, and what to do then. And then what to do if you don't get flight until at all, and then all you have is Jewel of Open for the first 5 relics, which does happen pretty often. And those are like the main 3 scenarios you're going to see in randomizers. The only thing that I haven't discussed yet is like what to do as far as routing to get Silver Ring and all that other stuff. So in general, Silver Ring, there's 2 different ways you can get it. Gold Ring I already discussed, as well as Spike Breaker. You kind of always just get those whenever you go into the caverns, but you still need the Silver Ring in order to get to the Holy Glasses. So your options are, you can either go, because you probably already checked the Colosseum Relic, but there's a chance that you haven't done Aurochs yet, but still have done caverns. There are some routes where it makes sense to do caverns first and then do Aurochs later. It's not super rare, but it doesn't always happen. So you can get Silver Ring on your way, or after fighting Aurochs and checking this relic. Then you can open up this shortcut, go up, and then grab the Silver Ring, maneuver your way back, and then get the Holy Glasses. That's one option. Or your other option is, let's say you finally got Spike Breaker, right? And you already have this teleporter open. What you do is you either use a library card and then use this teleporter to teleport over here, or you backtrack here and then teleport over here. And then from here you move along down the chapel, grab this, and then your options are, if you don't have any of the shortcuts open, so if you don't have the Auroch shortcut and you don't have the Colosseum shortcut, then you have to backtrack up the chapel, which is a little slower. There we go. So, and that's how you deal with getting the Silver Ring, and then you would teleport either from here down to here, or you teleport from, you would teleport from here down to here, or you would find your way down to here to get the Holy Glasses. Then from Holy Glasses, you really only get Holy Glasses like right before you're about to beat the first castle most of the time. So from here, you would just move your way on up here to teleport, or you would library card, boop, over here to teleport, and you would teleport either from here or from here up back to the castle keep, and then move on to the second castle. Alright, so as far as second castle goes, there's only 3 routes. I don't have a map for the second castle because they're very easy to explain. Your options are, you have the statistical route, which is you go Darkwing Bat into Medusa, into Akmadon, into... from Akmadon, you open the teleporter to get to the clock room, or from inverted Aurochs quarters. Then from there, you would fight, or you would check Power of, or Force of Echo, fight Death, check his relic, fight Galamoth, check the Poison Mist relic, and then you would teleport out, fight Creature, check Creature, and Creature's the last relic, right? So options are statistical route, where Creature is the last relic. You have statistical route with the Manly split added in, which is you do everything the same, except once before checking the Force of Echo, you save split, go to Creature, check that relic early in case that is the last relic, and then from there you can beat the game. Or your final option is going Creature first, which is Darkwing Bat into Creature. You can save split at Darkwing Bat, so that way if Creature doesn't have the relic, you just reset and then do the rest of the statistical route. Or you can completely skip the right side if you are in a race situation, because most players do right side first. So if you feel like you're behind, you can skip the right side, because if you're behind and the opponent does right side first, you're going to lose anyways. So you just skip it and go Creature first, and then from Creature you go straight to the inverted caverns, where you can check the Force of Echo, Death and Galamoth, and then you just skip the right side, hoping that those two relics, Medusa and Akmadon, don't have it. And that's pretty much it. That's how to route in SotN Randomizer in a nutshell. So hopefully that helped if people are starting to question what to do in different scenarios. And each scenario is going to require on-the-fly routing no matter what, but this is just a general outline for what I look for. But yeah,